Hi, this is János, it's Real Audio, and I received an interesting comment, a wonderful comment that I thought would be very worthwhile to share. And it is about warm-up time for Altec drivers, Altec speakers, and I thought this is very interesting because we have very different experiences. And what I have reported previously, my experience was that if I don't listen to them for a long while, then they will sound very, very cold, and they will require quite a while to break in and to sound at their best. And if I turn them on and use them after they were sleeping for, let's say, like half a year, or a couple of months. Well, I never had them sleep for half a year, but I had them sleep for over a month. And when that happens, in the beginning, when I played them the first day, they sound nothing at all like they normally sound. And now, in contrast, there is another report. I actually, before Eduard Broekman has written me, he also has a YouTube channel, I will put it down the link, that his Altec drivers, they have very minimal difference between being that cold and warmed up. So if he doesn't play them and then he turns them on, starts playing them, there's a difference, but it's relatively minor. He says like anytime they sound good. And now Jeff has shared with us and that for him, he's a professional working musician all his life, and he's been using Altec speakers and his father and him on the recording studio. That's so awesome. And we used to cut down voice of the theater cabinets for the studio monitors. Wow, that's amazing. That must be an awesome studio. I think that's the best thing when you have a recording studio and you design your own gear with it, your own monitoring cabinets. That is dedication. It shows that you really love what you are doing, and it's not just like cut and paste, take a recipe and replicate it mindlessly, but you really put in a lot of thought in it, and then you really just love what you do. I think that's really obvious from your comment, and actually he says that he has a lot of Altec drivers, and here this is what I want to share with you. Honestly, never heard any change from not using any of my Altec speakers for a period of time. I am trying to imagine what you were talking about. If they sit too long, the cones get stiff. Maybe the weather is different where you live. I have not noticed any difference. If I don't turn my set of voice of the theaters for a couple of months, or if I play them 8 hours a day, every day. The Jeff Galey channel. So he has a channel too, and I checked it out, and thank you, Jeff. Thank you for reaching out and commenting on my channel, and I have Jeff's latest video down right here, and then I will put the link down in the description, and actually what I think probably that's what you suspect, that's what's going on, the difference in weather, because I think that's the only difference between the three of us, is that Eduard, he lives in Australia, I live in Hawaii, and I'm not sure, Jeff, where you live. I think most likely somewhere in the continental US, and I know that here the weather is really extreme and is not indicative at all of weather anywhere else on the planet. Well, there's a bunch of places, like you live in Haiti, or maybe parts of Indonesia might be similar. Actually, Indonesia is much more humid, but but it's a very different microclimate, very different climate. And what is here, it's very different from anywhere else in the world. Three things actually. One thing is that salty air, a lot of salt content in the air. Two, high humidity, which oscillates between, I never seen it drop below 55% relative humidity, and that's the lowest ever. And then it goes up to the sky. And even at like high temperatures, the humidity is still at least 55%, the least. So there is like extreme amount of humidity in the air, and not just plain humidity, but salty humidity. Plus, we also have a special bacterial flora in the air that rots any plastic in record time. And not just the plastic, but metal as well. And here, for example, aluminum rusts. So you can imagine that here, how the driver cones are affected is vastly different than anywhere else in the world. And that's why, for example, there are certain car manufacturers whose vehicles break down all the time because of the plastic parts, the insulation and plastic tubing, etc. They constantly fail because, for example, in their climate, they are dependable and they go for 30 years without any sign of distress, and here they disintegrate within 5 years. So I suspect that this is what affects the drivers, and to have a significant difference between an unused driver and the broken-in driver, a well-broken-in driver, is the cone stiffness. And the difference, what I hear between not using the Altecs for a month and turning them on versus having them run every day, is the same kind of difference that I hear with loudspeakers, driver cones, before break-in and after break-in. So that's why it is just my suspicion, and I do not have any measurement or any facts to confirm whether it's cone stiffness that causes the difference, the vast difference between what I experience right here between cold and warm operation of my 511s and 288 compression drivers. So thank you so much for your comment, because what I suspect is that for most part of the world, your situation applies. So I can imagine that in most parts of the world, in continental climates, if you don't use the Altecs that much, they are not nearly as sensitive to warm up and continuous usage as right here. So thank you for that, and this is just an update for everyone that probably if you live in a continental climate, then you will not be bothered if you don't turn on your speakers, your Altec speakers, Altec drivers for a while, but I don't think you will leave them unplayed. The feedback I get from people who are using Altec drivers in their speakers is they spend the most time listening to their speakers. There might be someone listening to, I don't know what, like Fostex, like 24/7, I don't know, or any other brand. You pick your favorite brand or actual brand, maybe you are listening to them like non-stop. But what I have heard from people, what I have noticed is that when there's Altec drivers playing, people listen for very, very, very extended time. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you for this wonderful comment. Thank you, team, for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye. I'm stopping the recording. Where is it? Stop.